Jamie Dimon, the CEO of big bank JP Morgan, says Bitcoin is a fraud, and he is summarily called out by his own people. So what's the deal with China? And if you've ever bought concert tickets, you know that scalpers and ridiculous, ludicrous level fees often get in the way of a great experience. We're going to talk with the CEO of one company that intends to disrupt the ticket game. It's all kinds of sleep-deprived crypto fun on episode number 26 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
And I say sleep deprived because I am sleep deprived. Joel Comm here, freshly back from 2 weeks across the Atlantic on the continent of Europe via Germany and Czechoslovakia, alongside my comrade who's been doing some domestic traveling, Travis Wright. Hello, Travis.
Hello, Mr. Joel Comm. So what is the opposite of deprived? Because I have that much sleep. I'm feeling pretty
Prived.
good. I'm prived. I am sleep deprived.
You getting all the sleep. And you're in Chicago as of this recording right now, while I'm back at home base of Denver, and I believe you're giving a talk tomorrow. And when people hear this, you will have already given that talk. So much applause.
Thank you. Actually, I'm going to be the MC of the whole event. So I'm MCing tomorrow, which will be fun. I don't do it all that often, but it's not something I actually put on my resume, but I've done it a few times, and then I always seem to get referred to do it more so because people have heard me at another place. Because I'll do some magic. I got some other tricks. It's pretty fun, so I'll go out there. They think it's Penn Jillette, but it's not true. It's not Penn Jillette.
Can you make Bitcoin magically appear in my wallet?
I wish I could, because if I could, it would not be in your wallet. It would.
But I'll tell you what.
I'll give you a few.
Well, you guys can make Bitcoin magically appear in our wallet, and we can make it appear in yours. If you haven't signed up with Coinbase yet, then go to badco.in/Coinbase. And when you open your account and make your first purchase of any of the delicious coins that they have for sale, meaning Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin, when you spend $100, they will credit your account with $10 worth of Bitcoin. And they also do the same for us. So thanks to those of you who have supported the show and begun your crypto journey in that way. And we welcome you to the crypto fold.
Yes, we noticed that quite a few people bought during the dip. So nicely done.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about that when we get to the news today. I also want to let everybody know that the Bad Coin giveaway continues, and we have now distributed over 105 million Bad Coin in our initial token giveaway, and we're still giving Bad Coin away just for the asking and for reviews, and we're not going to go in depth on how you do that right now, but if you go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Bad Crypto, you can find it there. It's the pinned post there on the page. And speaking of Bad Coin is listed on the BitShares exchange, and there's this cool site that we discovered called CryptoFresh.com that actually allows you to see really all the important metrics around any tokens that are traded on the BitShares exchange.
Yes, and if you go there, you'll notice we have 475 hodlers of which is crazy if I'm looking at it. And you can see that there's some people who are trying to sell some, and there's some people who are buying some out there. Some people who got some and they're like, yeah, I'm trying to sell it all, but I'm sorry, you're not going to get much out of it.
Yeah, because it's pretty much worthless currency at the moment. But hey, you know what? If somebody came along 6-7 years ago and said, hey, you want 50,000 free Bitcoin, those are worthless, and you certainly would have taken those. At some point, we are going to find a way that you can redeem these bad coin for something I don't know yet what that is. Right now, we're still just giving them away. So come and get them while you can.
Yeah, what was interesting is we saw some interesting suggestions about what we could do with it. One person told us to shove it, but we're not going to talk about that. But other people said it would be really cool if you could like have stickers or T-shirts that people could buy with the bad coin, or get into a special Facebook group or something. Have to have a certain amount, and then you could see live videos. And so people were making some interesting suggestion of what we could do with bad coin. So if you have a suggestion of what you think that would be something cool to do with bad coin, maybe give us a call. We have a phone number, and that number is 708-885-9030. And or you can leave us a voicemail, ask us a question, give us a tip, tell us to stick the bad coin where the sun don't shine, whatever. It's your choice.
There's a lot of ways to contact us, and just because we don't respond to all of you, because we get so many calls, we get emails sent to badcryptopodcast@gmail.com, we get comments and questions on our Facebook page, and we have our contact form, and so we read everything, and we need your questions, we need your feedback, and we love your compliments. We are now heard in, get this, 150 countries, and to celebrate that, Travis is now going to say thank you in 150 languages.
Thank you in 150 languages.
Well played, my friend. I wasn't quite sure where you were going to go with that. Oh, and guess what I got? Listen to this.
What did you get?
Hear the sound of cheap tokens that are not actual silver.
Oh my gosh, is that 24 karat plated?
So added to my Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum collection is this brand new Dogecoin. It is a limited edition, only 2,500 of these worthless copper, which are gold-plated tokens, but it's beautiful. Were minted, and you'll see in the show notes both a picture of me with the coin, and the place that I purchased it from sent me a certificate of authenticity. It's shibamint.com, and I just love having these cool little coins on my desk. It just reminds me of how into crypto I am, and how into this podcast I am, and how into this podcast you all are. And so that'll be in the show notes. And in fact, you guys are so into it that the questions keep coming. We're going to go to a question from a crypto chick right now.
Hi guys, my name is Allie, and just wanted to say I love the show. I'm a pretty new crypto investor. I've only been investing since about June, and I've noticed over the past couple of months that it's pretty difficult to parse out good news reporting on crypto. Kind of seems like even the best financial reporters out there don't even really get it. And I just kind of feel like even some of the biggest names in news magazines and websites tend to just kind of repeat the whole Bitcoin is a bubble headline and just kind of serve for clicks. So my question is, do you have some go-to websites that you think are the most reliable sources for news and research?
Allie, that is a great question. First of all, it's wonderful to hear a female voice, male, coming through on our wonderful hotline. So thank you.
Actually, more and more of them are calling in now. So
That's
Crypto
true.
Chicks ahoy, we like it.
Yeah, this is great. And so one of the things that I think is important to consider on this, and here it's part of the whole epidemic of how the Federal Reserve Bank and banking is. And I want to give you a preface of this about the media and why it's important where you choose your media and choosing your media wisely. So I'm gonna run this down for you real quick. So we know now, we've had conversations. We know that the biggest scam coin of all time is probably the US dollar, right? It's the altcoin that came pre-mined. There's no coin cap. They print as many as they want, and it's unchecked, right? So it's one of those shit coins, But what happens is the bankers, the ones who control these dollars, they basically over the last 100 years have purchased all these corporations. They basically use that money to fund which politicians that they want to pass through their agenda. They also use this money to buy these media companies. So there's only 6 companies that own the majority of the mainstream media companies, and they're passing through their narratives and they're telling us what they want to because right, it's all big part of one ecosystem, right? Once you get that unveiled and you realize how corrupt that system is, you go, damn, wow. You start understanding that you really do need to get your news sources from alternative places, right? The mainstream media is not always the best place to get your news. It's not always truthful. And so one of the places that there's actually a few places where we like to go to get our news. CoinDesk is a great place to get your crypto news. Newsbtc.com is a great place. Cointelegraph.com is another wonderful place to get news. And what about our Flipboard?
We be flipping for the Flipboard. So all these sites, by the way, they are all focused on crypto. These are, whereas MSNBC or Forbes or Business Week, might have somebody writing a story about something in the news about crypto or Bitcoin. These sites are all focused purely on this information, and I think they're probably more likely to have maybe a bias in favor to some degree because they understand that Bitcoin is a thing, but we tend to go there more. And if you'll notice from our show notes, we'll often link to stories that we find on these sites, and Travis started a Flipboard for us a few weeks ago where we drop the stories that we find, and there's more stories than what we talk about here on the show. But if you want to check out our Flipboard and subscribe to it, it's at badco.in/flip. Duh. Well, not flip, duh, just flip like duh.
Yeah, because if you go to flip duh, that goes somewhere totally different.
That's flipping duh. So hope that answers your question, Allie. I hope you guys check out our Flippo Boardo, and let's go to some of the stories that we have flipped in today's news segment.
Duh.
While I was away, much happened in the news, and what a lot of people don't realize is that we pre-recorded most of the last 2 weeks episodes, and so the crash took place while I was in Germany. And in some of the more recent episodes, we talked about how the market was stable, but the fact of the matter is it wasn't, and nobody called us on it. Nobody said, hey, what are you talking about? Bitcoin crashed. But a lot of it centered on what's happened with China. And basically, China has cracked down on a couple things. First of all, they said they are doing a temporary ban on ICOs in China. And then they added more fuel to the fire, more salt to the wound, another nail in our heart, I'm running out of metaphors, by cracking down on Bitcoin exchange trading in the country.
That is true. And so that's caused a lot of volatility within the market, right? So what ended up happening was there was a huge, massive sell-off. So you might have noticed a few days ago where Bitcoin was almost at $5,000, at the start of September, and then it dropped down to $2,800, something like that.
Like a rock.
Yeah.
A rock.
Yeah.
There we go. We hadn't got any musical references in today until then.
That was great. That was, especially the that was pretty solid. But I want you guys to think about this here with what China's doing, right? Because we've talked about this a few times before. And so what I personally think, I don't know. I'm not Chinese. I don't have any partners in the Chinese People's Republic, the Bank of China.
But you do enjoy Chinese food.
I love Chinese food. I am actually a key opinion leader with Huawei, and you are as well, correct? Are you a Huawei KOL?
That is, yep. I've got my Huawei P10 Plus sitting here on my desk.
Yeah, so we're kind of Chinese, but but what I think is interesting about this is that I know in June there's an article, and we talked about this a few episodes back, where China was talking about creating their own cryptocurrency, right? The People's Bank of China is creating their own currency, and then they say, hey, no more ICOs. Let's put the kibosh on Bitcoin trading in these exchanges. Let's drop the price. then the price has gone way up. There's like $51 million purchase of Bitcoin. I noticed when it dropped. So who knows how or why that happened, but. I think there's something to this. I think China is really trying to regulate and put rules and regulations on these exchanges. They're trying to make sure these ICOs are all above board. So I think when the news hits that, all right, they are turning them back on or whatever, then it's going to go to the moon again, because now the market's sort of stabilized without China really being in it. And once China jumps back in it, boy, the price could really take a ride.
Yeah, and this article that we're linking in the show notes says China now accounts for less than 15% of Bitcoin trading volume. And, here's the thing. When ICOs are this unregulated thing all around the world, and China's looking at it and going, we're just temporarily suspending these. And by the way, this has not dramatically affected the price of Neo, which has been hovering around $20 still. And I think another one is Quantum, QTUM, I think, that also deals with Chinese ICOs. I think this is a temporary ban. They're going to get regulations in place, and then they're going to find ways that the Chinese bank can best profit for this. In the meantime, there's a story here that traders leaving China are moving to Japan. And according to the Cointelegraph, Japan has become the largest Bitcoin market because traders are leaving China. And it says that 50.75% of the market share of the global Bitcoin exchange is now in Japan.
So, man, that's actually very fascinating to see that so now China is 15% or less. Wow, they said the Chinese Bitcoin exchange daily volume has gone from 15% to less than 7%.
Yeah.
And more money is going into Japan. That is interesting.
There's a quote here from Charlie Lee, who's the creator of Litecoin, which we both are fans of. He says, this is a good thing. China can no longer play with the markets by banning Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency cannot be killed by any country. One solution to centralized exchanges is decentralized ones. And so, this brings some stabilization. And as of today's episode, Bitcoin's been hovering around $4,000, Ethereum around $285, Litecoin around $52.53. And so all of this fear, uncertainty, and doubt about China appears to be built in. What do we really know? We don't know squat, because neither Travis nor I are financial advisors, investment advisors. You shouldn't listen to anything we say other than to have a few laughs and giggles, but go do your own due diligence and decide what to do with your own money. We are not responsible for you, because that would be irresponsible. And speaking of irresponsible...
Joel?
Yes?
I can assure you, China. Nobody's better than China.
I see what you did there. And I'm wondering, is there a Chinese translation for the word kibosh that you used?
I don't
if
know.
anybody speaks Chinese, either traditional or Mandarin, and there's a word for kibosh, write us.
Well,
and
we've
let
now
us
said
know.
that word now in all of the episodes now, since you just said it 3 times.
Kibosh.
We've now
Kibosh.
said it 8 times.
Kibosh. It's a fun word to say.
I've lost track now. I don't even know how many that is.
Usually it's from the Italians though. Listen, don't make us take your Bitcoin. We're gonna have to put the kibosh on you. You know what I'm saying? But speaking of something I was gonna say, irresponsible. That's what I was gonna say.
It sounded like that you were constipated there a little bit. You were kind of grunting.
Well,
that's your Italian is kind of a constipated Italian. That was nice. I like that. I just wanted to comment.
That's actually a website, constipateditalian.com. Speaking of irresponsible, Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, big bank, some would say evil, came out just last week and said Bitcoin was a fraud. Not a frog, like Pepe, a fraud. And what did the internet say about that?
Yeah, so what's interesting about that is they totally called him. They basically said the JP Morgan CEO was full of shit, and that the biggest fraud ever is the dollar, right? And JP Morgan, the actual dude JP Morgan, was one of the guys who invented the Federal Reserve Bank, right, along with the Rockefellers and some of these other guys. But what's interesting is that there were people who were like Charlie Schramm. He said Jamie Dimon has had an internal blockchain working group for over 2 years at JP Morgan, and his friend his friend is on it. So basically, JP Dimon or Jamie Dimon, he's full of it. And there was other people saying like there was another dude who actually was a leader at JP Morgan, and he came back and he said something along the lines of, hey, you're a great leader and all this, but dude, just do yourself a favor and shut the F up about Bitcoin, because you don't know shit about it.
Well, apparently, the news is that JP Morgan Chase has tried to get a patent on an alternative to Bitcoin, and been rejected 175 times. So, what are the ulterior motives of somebody like this? And, there are those who say that the heads of the big banks are really some of the biggest criminals. And I'm not making any accusations. I'm just saying some people say that. And so...
JP and Dimon, he was actually on the board of directors of the Federal Reserve Bank in New York, right? So it's like, these are those Wall Street tycoons, right? They want to maintain their power. They've had power. They don't want to give it up, right? Power is this drug that is just, it's almost like it's insatiable for some of these people who are in power. It's like, even like, how much money do you need? How much power do you need? Like it's like there's just this craving that they have for it. It's just unreal. And this decentralized nature of Bitcoin just kind of freaks people out.
I'm not sure if this is just, urban legend or if it was actually said, but I heard that the elder Rockefeller of the Rockefeller family was once asked how much money is enough, and the answer was just $1 more. But conversely, he was also asked, how much money are you going to leave when you die? And he allegedly responded with all of it.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's what happens when you die. You don't end up taking any of your crypto or fiat currency with you. It's weird.
So leave it to Travis and myself. If you're planning on leaving this planet, our addresses.
And if you do, but leave us the secret keys though too. We got.
Yeah. Well, no, we have addresses. It's in the show notes.
That's true.
So just send us all your coin, and we'll appreciate that. And that's the news. Let's go to today's featured ICO Spotlight interview. And the segment that you're about to hear was pre-recorded actually today, just a few hours ago. But, when we do these interviews, typically we also record them on video so that there's a bad crypto extra for you to enjoy on our YouTube channel. So YouTube, actually the short URL is badco.in/YouTube. And one way that we help to support the show is by speaking with key members of ICOs that we have vetted, that we believe are bringing value to the marketplace, that have the potential to do some serious disruption. And so we just want to let you know, in full disclosure, that we are being compensated for bringing this interview to you today. But we do like what we see here, and we're looking forward to hopefully acquiring some tokens of our own for this. And so with no further ado to be done, here it is. That's all, folks.
Extra. Watch all about it.
This is Mr. Ashton Addison, who is the CEO of EventChain, eventchain.io, a brand new blockchain cryptocurrency token thingamajigger designed to disrupt the ticket industry with smart tickets. And welcome, Ashton.
Hey, thanks for having me, Joel. Thanks, Travis.
It's our pleasure. So tell us about the EventChain and how it all works, right? Because we've all had experiences with companies like StubHub and Ticketmaster, and we've seen how robots are buying up all the tickets and making it generally a pain for people to try to get good pricing on tickets here. So what is EventChain, and how is it solving? What are smart tickets, and how is it solving some of the problems that people have to deal with?
Yeah, you know what? I feel you guys. Everyone has those ticketing issues, and every time you want to go to the concert, it's almost impossible to get a ticket without either the scalpers buying it up, or if they do buy it up, then you end up paying twice as much. So we're
Twice as much. Dude, I live in Colorado, and Red Rocks Amphitheater, arguably the best outdoor amphitheater in America. Tom Petty was here this summer, and I could not find a ticket in the cheap seats for less than $400. They were thousands for the close rows.
He's kidding. He was seeing Celine Dion.
I've definitely
go on.
Even for Celine Dion, I've seen tickets go for as much as $10,000. For what? Just somebody buying it up and reselling it to you, just so that they can make a buck.
That's those front row tickets at those big sporting events. They go for that. I mean, I know like during the World Series, people were spending like in Kansas City a couple years ago, they spent like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for a front row ticket. Behind home plate, which is crazy, especially when you see the regular value of it was like $1,000 for a World Series ticket, spending 20 times that.
Totally.
So everybody's familiar with this, and this is a problem. Is this the problem that EventChain is going to help solve?
Yeah. Well, we're going to use the power of Ethereum and the power of blockchain technology to put these tickets into smart contracts and record them and have more transparency from the venues and the artists, so we can see how many tickets there are, what the prices are, and we can lower transaction fees and counterfeit ticketing just through using distributed ledgers. So that's definitely the goal here.
It's a fascinating thing for me to think about this, right? So I'm curious about the nuances of this. So say, for example, are you going to be partnering with the artist directly? Are you partnering directly with the venues? Are you connecting or partnering with companies like Ticketmaster? How exactly does that work?
Yeah, you know what? We actually have the ability to make partnerships through all of these avenues. And while we are trying to disrupt companies like Ticketmaster, it is possible that they could utilize the blockchain system that we've created to still run their events and bring more transparency for the fans and lower the ticketing prices. However, we're aiming towards a more Eventbrite-like system where we're lowering the barriers to entry for smaller events and for individuals and for artists that just want to create a small event and try to make some money without having to go through the huge ticketing intermediaries. So we're definitely focusing on making the connection between artists and fans directly in hopes of tightening the relationship between those two parties.
Well, walk us through that. Give us a scenario. You're an artist and you want to be able to use smart tickets with EventChain and bring those tickets to your fans. Walk us through. How does this work?
Yeah. So say you're a small artist, you're just running everything yourself. You're just trying to make a living and you want to create an event and sell tickets, but you don't want to have to get Ticketmaster involved and, lose a bunch of your profits. You could go to the smart ticketing application on the desktop and create an event, set your times, set your prices, set your capacity in your venue, and then that would create a smart contract out of the event, which had a unique list of all the tickets available. And then through the web and through the mobile applications, any fans would be able to go and purchase tickets directly from that contract, send the funds through the blockchain to the artist directly, and then he would be able to get more of the profits that he deserves, and while the fans could have that feeling of actually giving back to the artist and knowing that the ticket that they're paying for is going towards what they want rather than.
How much does Ticketmaster take? When you say avoid the fees, how disruptive is this?
It's pretty disruptive. If we're talking American dollars, which will be the least amount of fees, you're looking at 2.5% plus 3.5% plus nominal fees of up to $20 per ticket. So we're looking at least 8% to 10% of the fees on top of your ticket.
And then you have the convenience fee, and then you have the handling fee, and then the extra handling convenience, super convenience fee, and then you have the printing fee, and then it's like ridiculous.
The fee to cover the fees.
Yeah, the fee.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fees with ambiguous names that we're trying to figure out what we're still paying for when we just really want to reward the artist for the presentation that they're putting on.
That's true. I'm like, what do you mean the printing fee? Like, I'm printing it with my own ink and on my own. Like, how is that a fee? Like, the convenience for who?
I think that they may have stepped it a little bit too far with the printing your own ticket fee, but I heard that that's not implemented in every case nowadays. But that was the notorious print your own ticket fee.
One of these things I really like about this is, say, for example, like if you buy a ticket on StubHub, right, or you buy it from a third party, and then I'm printing it out, how do I know that he hasn't put it on StubHub and he hadn't put it on these other event ticket sites, or he has? As I'm always really curious whenever I buy one from the third party, I always make sure that I get to that event earlier than I normally would. That way I'm the first one in the door with the ticket. If somebody else has a duplicate, they're hosed, not me. And so now is this a mobile app that you have? Now this ticket's on my mobile app, and then it's tracked through the blockchain, and people can see where that is on the open ledger, and I can see that nobody else has a copy of this. How is that going to fix counterfeiting, or is that something that this is aimed to work on?
Yeah, definitely. And you're right about the secondary market, getting to the show early to make sure that the ticket that you bought is a legitimate ticket, because it's pretty common practice for these scalpers to list their tickets on multiple secondary markets. And even if they are a legitimate ticket, if they're double selling the ticket and two people happen to buy it simultaneously, then one person's not going to be able to get into the event. So with the event chain smart ticketing system, when you purchase a ticket using purely digital means, either through the desktop or on your mobile app, there will be a unique sequence number to that ticket. You will not be able to purchase it twice, just like how you cannot double spend a transaction on the blockchain, and the ticket will be rightfully yours, and you can be sure that that ticket is owned by nobody else and it is yours.
So sort of like Etherscan, right? You can take that code, send it over here, take a look at it, but it's going to be on your event chain. That's kind of like what Etherscan does with transactions. You can see, where's this transaction? This did this. So we're basically going to be able to put that code into event chain. It's going to say this ticket is legit. This person has it, or this unique ID has it, and you know that's you.
Exactly, right? It's sort of like a layman's version of a blockchain explorer. So you can see the transaction from purchasing the ticket on the blockchain, prove that it is attached to that smart contract event.
And the mechanism here is your token, which is EVC, event chain. Get it, folks? And so you'll need to have these tokens in order to purchase tickets. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're building the smart ticketing system around bringing EVC into the main as a main transaction factor. So if you want to purchase tickets with the most benefits, then you're going to need to use EVC. However, we will need to also accept Ether, and eventually you will need to introduce fiat payment protocols, gateways rather, through companies like Coinbase. We can introduce fiat payment to people that don't have blockchain experience, but we can still transfer that to altcoins and have them run through the blockchain so that we can transact
Travis,
with the low
that's
processing.
Cool. I like that, because isn't that a great way, Travis, of introducing people to crypto, right? It's like, okay, we'll take your fiat and we will make it magic happen and transmutify it into EVC, and these tickets are going to magically appear in your account. And now they're getting exposed to blockchain. And I think we need more ICOs and more products that work like that in order to bring the masses to crypto.
Yeah, especially if you do something like this where you use fiat to buy it, and then that's when you have the fiat fees. right? You have to have, you're able to charge them like, oh, well, if you wanted to buy this with EVC, it's going to be, US $10, but since you're using fiat, it's going to be $17.50. And they're going to be like, what? This is ridiculous. And they're like, well, you better get yourself some EVC.
That is exactly right. When you do introduce fiat back in there, then you get further regulations, more costs, third-party processors, and people will actualize those benefits of using EVC when they realize that it is cheaper to use cryptocurrencies to buy tickets rather than using credit cards.
I mean, it makes total sense to me. This whole process seems to it's needed, right? This is an industry that vastly needs disrupting. Blockchain seems to be the technology that can do that. We need visibility and transparency into these tickets. Scalping is dangerous. Like you can't even really trust somebody who's standing out there with printed paper. It's like they printed it off of their printer at home. Like, hey, you need 2 tickets? I'm like, yeah, dude. I don't know how many times did you print that exact same ticket off and selling it to people? So I love it. I think it's definitely an area that needed some disruption.
Well, there's so much mystery behind tickets. There's so much lack of transparency. I mean, this has been for me, 2017 was the summer of concerts. I have been to so many shows this year and, tried to snag up tickets for concerts, and they go on sale. You don't know how many they're reserving for sale later. They're selling out right away. There's the bots. There's these probably banks of computers that are run by scalpers where they're trying to grab everything and then immediately they put them on sale in secondhand market, and it's not fair for the fans. I love this transparency of blockchain, and talk about that a little bit, Ashton.
Yeah, the transparency is really one of the keys to increasing the communication between the artists, the vendors, and the fans. We want to know, are the tickets actually sold out? Or as you said, it always seems like the tickets sell out in the first minute, but then sure enough, the week before or the day before, a bunch more tickets got released. And it's like, well, was it actually sold out, or were you just withholding the tickets? And it seems like it's common practice in almost every event that the worst part about the event is trying to get a ticket for it. And
so true. The worst part of the customer experience is actually the acquisition of the ticket. I have a question. Tell us a little bit about your team. How have you structured your team? And maybe for other people who are trying to understand ICOs, that's one of the things that we always tell people is like, do your own due diligence. Make sure if you do decide to invest in an ICO, it's a company that's doing something unique. They're disrupting an industry in a unique way. They're solving a big problem, and they have a great team. So maybe tell us a little bit about what you're working with over there.
Yeah, for sure. I've gathered up like a really strong team with lots of software development experience already in booking solutions, very similar to the event booking application that we're working on. And the president and the vice president of the company actually have worked on software development booking scheduling system for the last 8 years. So I've ported those guys over from the software development side. And then we needed to add blockchain integration to be able to introduce the Ethereum blockchain and have the transactions process on the back end on this application. So we have some blockchain developers from London that are really trying to make it so that the application is so user-friendly that people don't know that they're using the blockchain.
We like that.
Yeah, because, if you're not a cryptocurrency person and you see these 0x something transaction Ethereum, it's over your head. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to make everything in layman's terms, and we're trying to reach out to smaller artists and venues and individuals to lower the barriers to entry in emerging markets as well, so that we can create events as simply as possible, but utilizing the blockchain benefits.
As of right now, which we're recording this on, what is the date? It's September the
19th.
Yes, thank you. The 15th, you said?
19th.
19th. What day is? I just got back from a 2-week run of Europe, so I'm still going on fumes on jet lag.
It's March 13th, Joel.
Yeah, what year is it?
2016.
You're currently in who's present? You're currently in phase 2 of the ICO, 46% complete. And those who participate, there's a bonus for joining. Is this an ICO that is open to United States residents?
Well, the ICO corporate structure is based in Singapore, and it's good because we investigated Canada, United States, Singapore to figure out who would be most accepting of these cryptocurrency projects arising, and we spoke with the Singaporean regulators, and they said it was best if we don't allow people from the United States to participate. So in the token agreement, we have made it aware to the United States that you shouldn't be participating if the token legislation in your jurisdiction doesn't allow it.
And how do people, are we talking about on a state-by-state basis, or is this a federal basis?
We've blanketed to a federal basis. And I do know that certain states like New York and Washington are, the regulations are sort of growing at different rates. So right now, those states are seemingly a little bit more restrictive with participating in ICOs, whereas states like Nevada seem to be more open to cryptocurrency. But for right now, we are leaving it to withhold people from the United States.
Okay, so, again, folks, this is still the wild, wild west. And you want to make sure you do your own due diligence on wherever you place your investments, because Travis and I are not financial advisors or even know what we're doing with our own money. This is the crypto age is an interesting time, and we're going to look back years from now and go, oh, we either saw the future and we were right, or man, what a mess that was. But I think both of us think that blockchain is so disruptive, and there's no stopping the blockchain train. Ashton Addison, CEO of eventchain.io. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was great.
Great stuff. Yeah, for more of that, if you want to actually see the walkthrough and actually see how the process works, we have that in a screencast and a video there on the YouTubes. So cruise on over to badco.in/YouTube. First of all, you got to hit the subscribe button, because that works all the magic that you need to be able to watch the video. So make sure you hit that, and then you'll be able to check that out. So great interview with Ashton Addison over there. Fascinating. I really hope they're able to pull that off, because those ticket scams always kind of upset me, right? It's like, come on now, Joel, it's crazy, especially how many shows you go to.
Yeah, I agree. It's a problem that needs to be solved, and I hope that they do solve it. It sounds like they're on their way. By the way, my apologies to the weird robot-y voice in a couple set portions there of that interview. Not sure what happened there. I assure you that I am not being transmogrified into a droid or a robot of any kind.
Joelbot 3000.
A Joelbot. Hey, Travis and I are off to Aspen, Colorado for the Nexus Earth Conference, and we're actually going to be recording the next episode in the car on our way up into the mountains. So we'll probably go off format a little bit, and it's going to be an interesting on the road with Travis and Joel on the way to a conference in the mountains. It's going to be a really long title for that episode.
And the more that I research Nexus and do dive into it, it seems really interesting, because they're really trying to create their own decentralized internet. And, you know, the founder of that company, his dad is like an aerospace genius. And so they're actually, you know, launching satellites into space, going to create their own internet that circumvents the current internet, creating their own with the currency. It's just amazing to me. And the market cap of that thing's only like 180 million right now. So who knows? If they're able to pull that off, that could be crazy.
At this conference, Travis and I will officially be the two dumbest people in the room, which is great because we're going to be talking to some really smart people. We'll be doing some interviews on location, and we will report back to you our findings. Please do continue to review, whether on Facebook or on iTunes or wherever you hear us. Oh, we have some news. I almost forgot. We have big news.
Uh-oh.
You want to go ahead, blow it out. Tell everybody.
Aha! The big news.
You didn't know what I was talking about there for a moment. You had to stop and
No, I had to think. I was like, big news. Oh my God, big news. Yeah. We're on Spotify.
Spotify.
Yes.
Very few podcasts on Spotify, and they love what we're doing. And now you can listen to the Bad Crypto Podcast.
It's something like one out of every bajillion or something. I don't know the exact numbers, but like a bajillion and a half podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate you. And until next time,
Stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.